Hi, Lincoln.
Hello, man. How you doing?
I'm all right.
Again, my name is Lincoln Brown with Mid-Missouri Regional Planning Commission. I was here last October, I believe, to kind of do this process when you applied. They're technically, these needs assessment processes, they ask us to update them within 6 months of an application cycle. So that's what we're here to do again. I am going to pass, they do require, I think, a sign-in sheet. I'll pass this around to the audience and or for the other members of the hearing. There is the old version and a blank version if anybody would like to review what was done last year and take a copy of a blank one and fill it out and hand it back to me. I'd appreciate it. You could also please fill out the sign-in sheet. Pass that around the room. It's a requirement for CDBG. So this hearing is essentially to cover a couple different reasons. Pursuant to HUD's regulation for applying for community development block grant funds, this is passed through the State Department of Economic Development. You're required to hold a public hearing to make sure you've received all input. I'll provide a kind of a brief overview of the expected project, kind of the funding for it, the reason for the grant, how you guys qualify, and then we can kind of get into last year's public needs assessment, and if there's any changes that the council or anybody in the public feels that they'd like to make to the existing needs assessment to update it for the current one, we'll complete that after I give my brief summary for the project. So as the council is aware, and maybe some of them in the room are aware, this is for the roundabout on Main Street Route B in Americana out by Interstate 70. The city was awarded a cost share project by MoDOT here at the end of last year, I believe in December, for a total project cost of $2.3 million, almost $2.4 million, which is to be split in half, with MoDOT paying $1.18 million and the city paying $1.18 million. In order to bring that cost down for the city a little bit more, they are intending to apply for $500,000 in CDBG grant funds, which will bring the city's cash contribution down to $700,000 roughly. So that's what you guys are going out for in terms of the grant. The grant closes here at the end of this month, July 28th. The reason you guys qualify is you are considered, as part of the application process last year, a income survey for the entire city was conducted to determine your eligibility for funding. HUD funds are predicated on something called the national objective, and to be able to qualify, you have to meet one of their national objectives, and the one you guys qualify is being a low to moderate income community. Purpose of this hearing is to discuss the project, as well as any environmental considerations that may impact the project or be impacted by the project. We have been hired by the city to complete an environmental review for this project because it already has been funded by MoDOT. You guys are going to complete the project whether you get the CDBG grant money or not. As part of that, there aren't really major environmental considerations for this project. I believe the only thing that's kind of impacting the construction area outside of some displacement during the actual roundabout construction, where traffic is going to have to be shifted from one side to the other, is the Casey's gas station, the gas station that was there previously. There are some leaking tanks that were on the site, and they have been remediated previously, but they are in a period of monitoring wells by DNR. That cycle actually ended this summer, and I haven't seen this letter, but I believe it's ended with a letter of no further action. The reason that impacts the project is some of these monitoring wells are within the corridor that's going to be disturbed. We've spoken to DNR, there isn't going to be any issues related to that. The other component is usually tribes are contacted as part of this for ground disturbance. Any tribes with an interest in the area have a period in which they can respond. I believe we've reached the end of that period, but we haven't heard any responses. If they do, usually their requirements are to complete a cultural survey, which is just an archaeological survey of disturbed areas. Again, they haven't requested that, but they can request that all the way up to construction if they haven't. So that is something else that we kind of keep open and is a possibility for the project in the future. One of the stipulations that we put in the environmental and as part of the grant is that, you know, if during construction anything is discovered of a cultural nature during during construction, that construction stops, and tribes and Missouri Department of Natural Resources State Historic Preservation Office are contacted. So those are the only major concerns in terms of environmental, and they're mostly just in case of, an if, per se. The rest of this, I believe there's a MoDOT public hearing scheduled also to comply with the cost share agreement rules. That's that July 21st from 4 to 6. I didn't have a location.
At Boonville High School.
At the high school, okay. So if anybody has any additional comments, this isn't the only place that you can air them. You can also attend that public meeting as well. So without further ado, if anybody has any questions, I guess before I proceed on to the updating the needs assessment with you all, feel free to ask. All right, so this is kind of a two-pager. You do have, I believe, a comprehensive plan in place, correct? There's some discussion about roads in that, but this is kind of something that CDBG requests to be a little more specific and kind of give you, if you look at the back page, you had a top 5 list of things that CDBG would fund listed on there. We'll cover that at the end, but as you'll know, the Kemper project was covered under the daycare and infant care component. So that's what you were awarded here this last year for the Boones Lake YMCA Kemper project. And you also had roads, stormwater, and sidewalks, I believe, on here as your number 3. Again, that would cover your roundabout, but if anybody has any changes to this, then this is going to be the forum to discuss that. So I guess the first component, public works and infrastructure, most things were rated as good, and a few things were rated as fair. Again, anybody in the room, feel free to hand these back to me, but if does the council have any changes they wish to see made to the existing needs assessment as it breaks down for Section A? Or any discussion? I think I'm good. Seeing none, we'll move on to Section B, Public Services, Fire Protection, Police Services, Code Enforcement, Healthcare, Emergency Services, and Parking. Most, or about half were rated as good, half were rated as fair. Any changes to this section?
I'd like to boost the healthcare up, partially because I was a patient. But the changes that they've made out there are quite good and substantial, and the physical care is amazingly good. So I would move that to good on health care. Code enforcement, I think that depends on what you're dealing with. We've got a lot of old housing that's difficult to it's difficult to code, period.
Yeah.
We can bring it up, we can fix it up. Steve and I both have properties that we go in and tear things apart and put back together. But there's no lack of help. So I think from a code enforcement standpoint, we've got good folks, good qualified folks. It just may be that what people are talking about there is the old stuff. Wouldn't you think that?
I would think so. And Amber and I were just talking before, and the girl that does the code enforcement, she's been spending a lot of time on that. Mm-hmm. I mean, they circle the city, several times a year?
Yeah.
I think they do a good job as far as code enforcement.
Yeah.
I mean, town looks, compared to 10 years ago, town looks good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it gets better every year.
Particularly the medium age. You know, the World War II stuff. That stuff looks so much better than it did 10 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even World War, yeah.
I'd boost that one to good. Healthcare, I think that depends on the patient.
Emergency services? Maybe.
Yeah.
We're so fair.
Uh,
We don't have an emergency room.
I think that was how you determined it last year.
Yeah.
You don't have access to an emergency room locally here, so.
do you have do you know what a multiple choice is?
No. I didn't know
Okay,
multiple
well,
choice.
fall and crash on your head, and you get a multiple choice of help. But there's plenty of help,
Yeah.
but it's multiple choice. I would leave that where it is.
So I'm moving code enforcement and healthcare potentially to good. I've got those noted. We'll take into consideration anybody else in the public that has any comments on these as well. Section C, community facilities. This was kind of a split. Some things don't exist, some things as rated as good, some things as fair. The list says community centers, seniors, citizen centers, shelter workshops, hospitals, daycare and fit care, mental health counseling, teen youth centers, drug abuse prevention, rehabilitation programs, and crime prevention programs is the list for community facilities. Again, most were rated good to fair. There was one rated as poor and one rated as doesn't exist, which was the hospital. Any changes to this list as it was determined last year?
A lot of the daycare right now is actually trying to find people for them. I know multiple daycares that aren't full at this point. So I'm wondering if we should move the daycare to fair from poor.
It's still a need, I would do that.
Leave it as poor.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still a need though. I've been talking with Milestones and some of the other daycares and they're not even full up. So if they were all full, then I would say, yeah, it's poor, but that's,
I think we probably should leave it since we're looking at expanding Kemper, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's a big project.
that Kemper
I
expansion
think
was
that's
all
gonna be-
about that.
that's gonna be youth, though. I mean,
Well-
it's not gonna be infant,
But it's daycare.
Daycare broadly, not just infant.
probably.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's providing like direct after school care or before school care, that type.
Yeah,
Teen and youth centers are generally something separate, house separate. But yeah, these are very broad categories, so you interpret them as you will.
Yeah, I mean, that's been, the people that I've heard have been talking about youth not having anywhere
God bless
to
you.
go.
Yep, thanks.
So to me, we definitely need some kind of youth center, or that's what we're building the YMCA additional building into. I mean, but I guess daycare broad term there.
Well, there is a teen youth center, that's rated as fair. Is there any interest in changing that or need for changing that?
on which one?
Number 7 on
Youth
C.
Center.
I'd leave it at fair.
Leave it as. Any other comment? All right, hearing none, moving on to section D, housing. This is residential rehabilitation, housing for disabled, single-family housing, affordable rental housing, lead-based paint testing and abatement programs, energy efficiency programs, homeownership assistance, and senior housing. About that list. Most of these were rated as fair, with housing for disabled rated as good, and affordable rental housing as poor. Any changes to this list?
I don't know how you change.
I do have a comment. I am the liaison for the Housing Authority Board, and at their meeting in June, and it's in the packet, they voted on a resolution to be sent to the City Council regarding the lack of sufficient housing. And just a few statistics in the resolution. There are 28 families, or 64% applicants, on a wait list for a one-bedroom unit. 13 families, or 30% families, on the wait list for two-bedroom units. And 3 families, or 7%, on a wait list for 3-bedroom. So under rental, that's a considerable number of people waiting to find housing here in Boonville. Obviously, single-family housing, I don't know how that cues with the resolution, but the affordable renting, I think, needs to remain at poor for right now.
Yeah. Your housing market's been short for years and years as far as buying a house. It's been short around the area for a long time.
Well, do you think the project over in Kemper is gonna help?
it may help for the one-bedroom. I forget how many one-bedroom units they were putting in. I know the total was, what, 40 units? Most of them were two-bedroom.
Yeah,
There
I
were
don't
ones and
remember.
twos both.
Yeah, and then 3 studio, I remember. I don't know why that sticks in my head, but it does. So
Now,
I'm
is that,
downsizing, no. But yeah, the one-bedroom
But those
units,
are not income qualified, those are,
correct.
At
Those are
Kemper?
market value.
and what you're emphasizing here is income qualified?
For the most part, I
Affordable.
believe.
Okay.
I remember Bob Rohr making the comment, some of these families are just people who are wanting to move to Boonville and cannot find adequate housing. I don't know the percentage, but,
Right.
yeah.
so down at Kemper, aren't those for older adults down
Senior
there?
housing.
Older adults.
And also considered affordable. So their income, they're
Okay.
through the tax credit project, so there is some income requirements.
But the ones being built down there on, what is it, Second Street?
That's market
It's
rate.
market
That's,
value.
yeah.
But I think there's also, I think when we were meeting them today, Jim made the comment too, that I think there's a lot of people also who are not qualifying for like the housing authority. They're-
Right.
But they can't afford maybe,
They're in
they're
the middle,
They're in the toughest spot.
which is not good either.
So keeping things the same as they're written
I
currently.
think you leave that the
General
same,
consensus.
don't you,
Yeah.
Susan?
Okay.
I would,
I've got the comments down here of housing authorities as kept with currently addressing needs for additional rental housing.
On this one though, I don't agree with residential rehabilitation as doesn't exist. I see tons of houses being rehabilitated.
I think that means like a rehab, like a halfway house.
A
Right?
what?
Halfway house?
Yeah, like a halfway house, like a rehab.
No, this is actual,
Oh, I thought we did, I talked about it as,
it's not.
So
No,
it's what?
It's, under the housing quotient, it's for places, like turning places that are run down back into usable properties, or
we
Okay.
clearly.
clearing
I don't
demolition.
think we understood that last time.
Round of fair.
Yeah, that's a lease fair. Go down there to 800 block of Spring Street.
Yeah.
So if you have a demo program or a program providing assistance for homeowners to renovate property that are,
Oh, well, assistance
or
is a
cleaning
different
stories.
story.
Yeah,
there's
we
no
don't have,
There's
program.
no assist, I think that's how we just
Okay.
discussed it last time.
Okay,
Yeah.
that doesn't.
oh,
exist.
so leave it as don't exist?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on a second. So, I mean, this is, like, to me, this is the community itself, so we're saying.
It's as a
assistance
community.
for residential rehab?
Yeah, I don't
I'm
think
just
that.
trying
I'm
to,
confused.
okay. Because residential rehabilitation to me is just are the houses being renovated around here. And I'm seeing tons of them renovating, so this is assistance for that?
Hey, maybe we need.
There's quite a bit of
kickbacks.
rehab stuff going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, I mean,
But not,
World
I
War
guess
this
we'll
II
is
let
by
some
the
additional
city.
Well, the World War
clarification
II
in the
houses that are getting recited
yeah.
and fixed up. There's probably, what, a half
40s.
dozen of them going on right now.
I mean, if it's assistance for, I'd say, yeah, it's non-existent, but if it's for the community rehabbing houses.
Just as a whole, the community is
I think-
turning houses over and
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh,
updating.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's recognized it in the minutes, I can also recognize it as comments for this section as well.
Okay,
I usually attach something with my notes here.
I didn't
We'll
scratch
change that
a
one.
bajillion of these off.
Okay.
I think
What
we're
would-
taking it back to fair, right?
Well, no.
I think we're just
Residential-
putting an explanatory note next to
Oh,
it.
okay,
We don't know
okay,
that.
Yeah, doesn't exist
okay.
by the city.
Yeah.
Official programs don't exist, but
Yeah.
private entities and household owners and renters, landlords are making improvements.
Yeah.
Okay. Education profiles, preschools, public schools, vocational schools, community colleges, universities, continuing education, employer-based skills training, cooperative school business partnerships, and entrepreneurship training. These is kind of, some rated as good, some as fair, and a few don't exist, none rated as poor. Any comments or changes to the existing community assessment?
I think it's good.
Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to section F. Economic development, job creation, startup business assistance, employment training, or other economic development needs or activities occurring in the area. These are rated either good or fair previously. Any changes to this section? Or comments that you wish to add?
I mean, do we really have startup business assistant?
Yeah.
Okay, we do. Good.
Looks fine.
Okay.
Yep.
And the last section is kind of what do you think are the top 5 needs for the community? And the current list on there is as you guys discussed it last year, and they are rated as number 1, infant and daycare, number 2, affordable rental housing, number 3, infrastructure, street, sidewalk, stormwater, number 4, emergency services, and number 5, teen youth center. Any additions, changes, or restructuring of this list?
I would probably switch 2 and 3. Street, sidewalk, storm water as the number 2 item. Affordable rental housing is the number 3 item. And if nobody else agrees, then they get to stay right the way they are.
Well, I think you're right, because we're spending more money on infrastructure right now than anything else. That should be up there.
But this is for the needs. It's
Oh,
not for
I'm
how
sorry.
well we're doing.
Well, we're spending money because it's been needed.
Well, yeah, and I
How's that?
commend that.
What
Honestly,
do you
I
need more money
think,
for? I think is.
I think the fact though that we are directing city money for sidewalk and infrastructure improvement is a good thing. And it's, to me, number 3 spot was okay with the rental housing issue and this resolution from the housing authority. I feel like they're trying to make the city aware of that need, and maybe it is something we should be addressing as a number 2 spot.
And of course, the affordable rental housing issue is more of a, is less of a government
I understand
private.
that,
issue.
but
As
I just
opposed
wanted
to
to
private.
highlight what the housing authority's concern is.
Yeah, okay.
Tied for 2.
I don't think it makes that big difference.
Is there anyone, so I got 2 questions from the previous discussion and also just from how this is structured. Teen and Youth Center and Infant and Daycare are on here as 2 separate line items. Is there an item that you all would like to see added to this list that isn't on there that we may be able to consolidate the after-school care, daycare, youth center into one category and add something to? That's something that I would discuss, because you guys had some, like, there's needs in both potentially, but if you have something else that you'd like to see on this list, we could see those two collapsed into one category.
I mean, we're hitting 2 birds with 1 stone with the YMCA,
With the Y.
right? And I mean, that's like, I went into the library like last, and that's the biggest thing. We need some place for our youth to go and da-da-da. And it's like, I'm thinking youth center, we have nothing. I mean, where do they go now? I mean, walk around. I hate staying in the library like when LSE lets out, It goes
Well, isn't
crazy
the-
in there.
Isn't the library moving down to campus?
Yeah,
Yeah.
libraries.
But that's what I'm saying, where else can the youth go? We need a place, and I think hitting 2 birds with 1 stone, that's both, right? So we should add something to the list and merge those 2.
So what do you put on the list?
Yeah, what do you put on the list?
Well, that's,
Well-
we don't have to change things around that way. I was just a suggestion, if you did have something else that you guys would think of that needs to be on the list, that's something we could do.
So you're looking for a playground?
Playground,
Well-
park area, yeah, park area. That's what we always did
That's what
when
we
we were
called
kids. We'd go find
I mean,
a field somewhere and
do
play
they even
football.
go
or
to
baseball.
parks nowadays? That's the problem.
Yeah, that's all we had when we were kids.
Yes, they do.
Sometimes they do things they're not supposed to do
That's
at
right.
parks, but they go.
I don't remember that. Yeah.
That's interesting. That really is interesting, because he's right. They haven't got a place to go.
My kids won't
Play
go.
ball.
They'll go to the water park, and that's about
That's
it.
it,
Yeah.
yeah.
More
My
basic.
tablet doesn't have Wi-Fi at the park, so why am I going there? Honestly,
Oh, gosh.
Well, I would, to that point, say with the YMCA and the new library relocating down there and the fields behind those two buildings,
Well, and the two buildings are gonna be youth buildings,
yeah.
so maybe that helps.
I think that's going to help. I'm not gonna say it's a cure by any stretch, but the building, the library building will be larger. Hopefully there will be more services, programming for teens in particular. I think that's something anyway.
Yeah, good point. It's a start.
I mean, we got soccer fields and there's all kinds of stuff kids can do.
There's all kinds of grass down there at Kemper.
Yeah. Everywhere.
You could leave it as is for
Leave it
now
as
too,
is.
and
It's
we're
all
undergoing the
represented.
comprehensive plan also simultaneously, so there'll be time to talk about all these things all over again. In an even more expansive format than just check marks.
Exactly.
So, don't feel like this is the forever. Apparently it's only 6 months worth of interest.
Yep. So leave things as is, then? Is that the consensus up here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that's all I've got currently. What I will do though, however, is turn this over for any members of the public that would like to comment on what we've just discussed.
Lincoln, do you wanna give the sheet, do you need them to sign in too?
Yes.
Okay,
So you already signed it all.
So,
not to interrupt the public, but just to make sure we get all our stuff done. Anyone else have anything to share about community needs?
Yeah, and if anybody took a form and filled it out, please give it back to me. I can take it, add it to the existing comments.
I don't think there are any other comments, Lincoln.
Thank you. Good work. Does that take care of hearing of any citizens' comments?
Oh, well, we'll still do you'll need to do roll call. Amber will need to move to roll call.
Amber?
Yeah, I guess we're gonna.
Meadows,
Here.
Coward,
Here.
Harville,
Here.
Albert,
Here.
Venable, Davis,
Here.
Bechtel, and Young.
here.
Okay, hearing of any citizens' comments on top of what's already been expressed? Nope, okay. Approval of the minutes of June 16 council. Any changes or corrections? And they will stand as submitted, thank you. Any consent items? Presentation of the council claims on page 6.
Be it ordained by the Council of the City of Boonville as follows. Section 1, for the purpose of paying salaries and various accounts against the City of Boonville, which have been allowed by the council at the regular meeting thereof on July 7th, 2025, the sum of $446,918.61. General Fund, $209,465.50. Sanitation, $56,216.90. CIP tax, $53,835.24. Waterworks, $27,149.49. Capital projects, $35,092.70. Wastewater, $25,461.59. Tourism, $16,464.49. Gaming, $9,924.65. Parks and Water, $4,527.80. Kemper sales tax, $8,780.25. Economic Development Project, $0.00. Section 2, the accountant is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $446,918.61, being the total amount of money being appropriated. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage. First reading, July 7, 2025. Read for the second time this July 7, 2025, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
I'll make a motion, we approve the ordinance.
Okay, is there a second?
I second it.
Thank you. Got a motion and a second. Questions? Discussion? Roll call.
Meadows,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Albert,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Item 7, unfinished business. Third reading of bill number 2025-009, approving annexation of Ballparks Central at 17120 Jackson Road and associated tracks. Starts on page 7.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri annexing certain contiguous territory owned by Kim Brady located at 17120 Jackson Road and associated tracks, Cooper County, Missouri, into the City of Boonville, Missouri, zoning the property as CP Commercial District, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
I'll make a motion we
Oh, wait,
approve.
we're not ready to do this one.
We're not?
Why is there
If
4
you read my
readings?
memo.
I didn't read your memo,
You know how
so
this goes.
why is there?
No, because we are still finalizing negotiations with the water district, and I need
Good
to have more
grief.
clarity with them for the buyout. And also, we're just wanting to have the final preliminary plan go through planning and zoning tomorrow, so the 21st we'll be ready to vote.
What are you planning for what?
The rest of the ball field, the whole ball field section.
That's part of the annexation or not?
Mhm.
We
It
were
is
doing
part
this.
of it, but we haven't seen any plans, but it's.
Right, but we were doing that separate, right? This was just the topic of annexation.
This is just the annexation, but I'm just saying they've already dropped the preliminary plan, so planning and zoning will review that.
Okay.
So it'll be in there then, and also the water district will have more clarity on the water district buyout.
Fair enough.
But I appreciate you.
Do we always have
Well,
four
I was
readings?
wondering too. I was
We
like,
did with
wow.
Thurman Development too.
Okay, so we postpone that to a 4th reading?
Yep.
Done. Item B, second reading of bill number 2025-010, approving a final plat of a minor subdivision at 913 Santa Fe Trail. It's on page 26.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, approving the final plat of a minor subdivision of property 913 Santa Fe Trail in the City of Boonville, Cooper County, Missouri.
Questions?
We are taking action.
Is there a motion? We can't have questions until we have a motion.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion, we approve this ordinance.
All right? we
I'll
have-
second.
We have a first and a second. Now we can talk, if we want to. And if we don't want to, that's fine.
Any issues from P&Z on this one?
The gentleman's got a pretty large tract of land, he's basically wanting to split it to build 2 houses. It's definitely warrants a second house, and basically we're approving another house being built in city limits. So I think it's a no-brainer, slam dunk.
Great. Thanks.
I like no-brainers. Any other questions? There's a motion and a second. Roll call.
Meadows,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Albert,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Item 7C, second reading of bill number 2025-011, authorizing and approving a rezoning of 911 Kemper Drive from R3 to C-P. It's on page 31.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, approving the rezoning application for Precision Built LLC located at 911 Kimber Drive from R3 to CP, authorizing amendment of city's zoning ordinance, Appendix C, in the zoning district map, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Is there a motion?
Mayor, I make a motion, we approve this ordinance.
Is there a second?
Mayor, I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion. No discussion? Roll call.
Meadows,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Albert,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Okay. Item D, second reading of bill number 2025-012, approving a preliminary site plan for 98 Investments, LLC. It's on page 36.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, approving the preliminary site plan for 98 Investments LLC located at 17120 Jackson Road, Boonville, Cooper County, Missouri, providing an effective date therefore and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion.
Is this in city limits right now?
It's not,
We're
but you
making
can
a motion-
approve a preliminary site plan for something.
Assuming annexation will pass.
Mhm.
Okay.
I didn't know if we were
And
gonna
it-
table this one too or not.
No, this one's fine, cause it's really just approving the plan. There's a final plan to come before you guys also, so.
We don't
It's
care
just
about
trying
the
to
wa-
keep
We don't
it-
care about the waters and all that with this. Right?
Not on the preliminary.
You know, this is the front building.
Alright, fair enough.
Excuse me, where is this located at now? That was on Jackson Road.
This is on Jackson Road.
It's just past Walmart.
This is just, they just did a small preliminary plan on commercial frontage. I don't, maybe, what, an acre of, 3 acres? It's not a very big portion of the whole
Yeah.
property. It's just the commercial frontage that's gonna have 2, buildings and parking, and that's it.
But this is part of the
But
bulk
part of the whole bigger development, yes.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, they poured the concrete.
Did you get it, Barry?
All right.
So is this gonna be before, Kim Brady Park, ballpark or after?
So when you go down Jackson Road, there'll be this commercial frontage, kind of like a little tiny strip mall, maybe for lack of a better term. And there'll be an entrance and the ballparks will be behind it. If that makes sense.
So this is on the road,
Yeah,
and
if
the
you look at the
ballparks are
GIS
behind it.
Yeah, Barry, if you look at the GIS map, you can see the properties.
Did you get it? It was that a yes?
So why would we wait till we get all Jackson Road passed? If it's be after Kim's Brady?
No, it's equal with, so the easiest way to see it, Barry, is,
This is GIS on page 22.
is it on page 22? Yeah, so Barry, if you look on page 22, the lots we're talking about, this is frontage right here. We're talking about this commercial frontage, and then the ballparks are going here. So this is Jackson Ridge, it's just this commercial frontage. And then you get the preliminary plan that will come before everything tomorrow.
Got it, Barry?
Yeah, I was wondering, should we wait till we vote on the whole thing first?
This is okay, because like I said, there's a final site plan that will come before you guys. This is really enables them to keep moving forward, which is their goal. They're trying to keep building and they're trying to do it in our requirements and in our specs. So in order to do that, we're processing it through as if at this point in time it's gonna be annexed.
I'm done. Thank
Okay,
you.
good. Any more questions? Roll call.
Meadows,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Albert,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Item E, second reading of bill number 2025-013, adopting a procedure for considering redevelopment plan and tax abatement or exemption pursuant to chapter 353 of the revised statutes of Missouri. It's on page 43.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, adopting a procedure for considering redevelopment plan and tax abatement or exemption pursuant to Chapter 353 of the revised statutes of Missouri.
Is there a motion?
Mayor, I make a motion, we approve this bill.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Discussion. There being no discussion, roll call.
Meadows,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Albert,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
46 pages, just that fast. Nice job, Joe. Item 8, new business. A, homecoming parade on page 45.
There's no action needed on this tonight, it's mainly just a FYI that the door knockers will go out and then there will be opportunity for any public comment at the next meeting and approval.
Everybody's comfortable with that procedure? It's a good, easy way to get coverage. Okay. Item B, consider resolution 2025-11 on page 49, authorizing and approving the application of CDBG funds for roundabout at Highway B and Americana Drive.
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri stating the intent to seek funding through the Community Development Block Grant Program under the fiscal year 2025 competitive cycle for the construction of a new roundabout at the intersection of Route B, Main Street, and Americana, authorizing the mayor to pursue activities in an attempt to secure funding. Whereas Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 does state as its primary objective the development of viable urban communities by providing decent housing, suitable living environment, and expanding opportunities principally for persons of low and moderate income. And whereas Title I does offer to communities the opportunity of monetary assistance in accomplishing its stated primary objectives, and whereas the Missouri Department of Economic Development is designated to award community development block grant funding under Title I, and whereas the city does have areas of need which may be addressed through the Community Development Block Grant Program, now therefore be it resolved by the City of Boonville, Missouri, that it desires to participate in the Missouri Department of Economic Development in the improvement of our community under the activities authorized pursuant to the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974. Therefore, be it further resolved that the mayor of Boonville, Missouri hereby is authorized to prepare and submit documents which are necessary in applying for funding and establishing an administrative organization to implement activities pursuant to the aforementioned act. Be it further resolved that the applicant will dedicate $706,437 of local cash funds and $1,000 in its kind to be used on this project.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve this resolution.
Thank you.
I'll
Is there a second? Got a motion and a second. Questions? Comments?
So did we budget for this $700,000
Yeah, we
plus?
actually budgeted for the whole 1 point,
Okay, thank you.
whatever it is.
Do we have a likelihood of getting this grant?
Nope. I mean,
Fingers crossed?
fingers crossed.
Fair enough.
I mean, like I said, we do have the whole amount budgeted, so I view it as if we get it, then that's just $500,000 that can
a
be
fire truck.
allocated elsewhere to a fire truck, for example. And if we don't get it, it's okay because we've already got it budgeted, but
Here you go.
hopefully we'll be successful. Usually that's what I mean.
So, hold on, I'm confused, because I thought that is county paying anything on this roundabout? Nothing. And, okay, they're not obligated,
They're not obligated to.
but it's,
It's not county,
Let's see what-
it's city limits. And so the way the cost share program is, it's addressing needs that are on MoDOT property, but that likely will never reach to a level of high enough need in competition statewide. But it's of a need, so they provide matching funds to help incent communities to fund improvements in their own communities.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely needed, I'm not
Yeah.
questioning that. I mean, I almost got hit there the other day trying to come out. But I was concerned on, because I thought that they were paying part. I'm confused on that.
The county is not paying any, it's MoDOT who's putting the other 50% in.
And then we're just basically applying that they hope to provide that.
Yeah, the 500,000 from the CDBG funds, yeah, so if we are successful with the grant, then it will defray our, what is that, 1.13 million? It'll bring it down to 700,000.
So when do we find out?
So we're just trying to leverage funds is what we're trying to do.
When do we find out? whether we get the
I
grant?
think we found out, let's see, probably if it's July, probably sometime toward the end of the year.
And we plan on doing this next spring?
So the way the MoDOT, it's kind of unusual since we're under the MoDOT cost share program too, we're kind of on their timeline really. But, it's going to bid in January of '26. And then the way I understand it though is that construction, and it's going to bid as part of the expansion from, 101 to the bridge. So that whole area is getting the 3-lane expansion. This is a project separate, but a part of that. And that project is probably a multi-year project. So where we may fall in that whole contract, maybe we're at the end, maybe we're at the beginning, but we are gonna put in our contract that there's only a certain number of days. So you can't like do half the work and then come back a year and a half later. Like we're gonna say you have, so whatever an appropriate reasonable amount of time is, they need to come and do a roundabout and then keep moving with the I-70, but that they shouldn't be bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, it would be good, they're putting in a brand new roundabout with the same project down there by Socket, right off of 63. So if they're putting in roundabouts elsewhere, I mean, it would only go to show, because it's really going to basically be the same traffic, going into and off of 70. So.
Anything else on that?
So have we thought about the economic impacts it's gonna affect the businesses?
They won't ever be closed
They'll
down.
never be closed down? Okay.
Nope, they'll still have access the whole time. Yep.
Okay. Any further on that? Did we vote on it?
Not yet.
I got a first and a second, I just need your roll call.
We got a first and a second. We probably ought to vote on it. What do you think?
Yep.
Roll call.
Meadows,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Yes.
Harville, Elbert,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Item C, consider resolution R 2025-012, authorizing and approving purchase of a pumper truck for Boonville Fire Department. It's on page 50.
A resolution authorizing the purchase of a 2014 Spartan Gladiator pumper truck, stock number 19733, VIN number 4S7AU2D9XE CO77959, offered by Brindley Mountain Fire Apparatus LLC for the Boonville Fire Department. Whereas the Boonville Fire Department needs a new pumper truck with a reliable, modern fire engine with updated pump capacity, safety technology, and equipment storage that is critical for maintaining adequate fire suppression capabilities and ensuring firefighter and public safety. And whereas the fire chief, city administrator, and city council engaged in deliberations regarding the availability, prices, and options on several new and used trucks in an evolving fire apparatus market, and have agreed that the aforementioned truck is the best available unit to meet the needs of the city of Boonville. And whereas the Boonville Fire Department and city staff have reviewed and approved the specifications of the aforementioned truck and the terms of a proposal provided by Brindley Mountain Fire Apparatus to furnish same to the city of Boonville for $425,000. Attached hereto is an Exhibit A and incorporated by reference as it fully set forth herein, and now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri, that the city approves the purchase and hereby authorizes the mayor to accept the proposal of Brindley Mountain Fire Apparatus of Union Grove, Alabama, to furnish the above specified equipment for $425,000, and thereafter authorizes the Boonville Fire Chief to approve customization of the unit and take delivery of same, and to fully and completely execute all warranty materials in the name of the City of Boonville upon delivery. Passed the 7th day, July 2025, to the City Council of Boonville, Missouri.
Is there a motion?
Mayor, I make a motion, we approve this resolution.
Thank you, Susan. Second?
Second.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. Questions?
Just a quick comment. So I do support this. I voted in favor of it last time we met. I do want to make sure for future expenses like this, we go through capital planning. So I know Chief Cooper's here. it's a 1992 truck we're replacing. I totally get the need for it. Let's just try to plan this going forward. But like I said, I support this. Let's just try to be a little better on our planning on this. Dropping 425K or 450, whatever it is, we need to make sure we plan for this. But I will support this one, but let's make sure we plan going forward.
Good point. Well said. Any other comments?
Just for clarity, we have two trucks. One's a 92. What year is the other one?
97.
So the 92 will be replaced. Our trucks then will be a 2014 and a 97. So probably need to be looking at a backup of the other backup soon.
Yeah, but well, I mean, there are other priorities at the fire station first, so, and then in line with other ones, but this is kind of getting us, I think, maybe through the pinch period, to Andrew's point, to be able to kind of put ourselves on a better capital plan for major capital purchases with the fire department.
Got it. Okay.
Any other questions?
Oh, one other. The 425 includes everything?
I'll let Tim talk about what it included, the 425 on the, for the price.
Yeah, so that includes the fire truck itself. The majority of the equipment that'll go on the truck will come off the engine that we're replacing it with. There will be a few things that we'll need to purchase for it, but basically it's just for the engine itself.
Thank you. Any other questions? Roll call.
Meadows,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Elbert,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 8D, first reading of bill number 2025-014, approving a sublease with Cherry Road Media Incorporated at the Katy Depot.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri approving a sublease for a portion of the Katy Depot to Cherry Road Media for the office space, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Okay. Item 9, reports of standing committee, Housing Authority.
I'm done reading, thank you.
Well, as I mentioned, the minutes are in the packet. If you want to read that letter of resolution that the board approved in June, it's included in the minutes. So.
Anything else to talk about, discuss?
No.
Okay. Any questions for Susan? Any reports of city officials? City Administrator.
I'll skip down on page 87. I'll leave the unfinished and the new business notes, but under miscellaneous items 1, I just wanted you guys to note that the audit was completed and we had a clean audit, so no recommendations or nothing that we failed to do this year, so that's good. If you are interested in a full copy of the audit, we have several, so if you need some reading, we have them. And then also I just wanted to say that I also included in here the capital project update, so we provided some comments along the way on where we are in most of those projects. You'll see that we have been busy taking things off our list or they're in progress. It's kind of how it goes in the spring and the summer and the fall. So I'll continue to look for those things to get done. And then I just wanted to express my appreciation and thanks to the Public Works Department, Parks, Police, Fire Department for everything they do for Heritage Days. It is definitely an all hands on deck event. So we're even more ready now for a once in a lifetime 250th birthday celebration here in Boonville next year. So thank you to them. And then also I just wanted to say that for people who maybe don't have kids, that's probably the biggest thing. There's a lot of kid events that occur throughout our Parks Department and they do a really good job. And I've asked Jim as these events kind of come through, he's put pins at all of the places. So I'll come back and tell you like how this weekend is the conference swim meet. So how many kids are at our swimming pool and how many teams. And then there's a World Series in the 12th, I think also this weekend. So I just thought it would be interesting for you guys to see how many people are coming for these sort of one-time events that occur in the summer. Yeah, we'll do the
Don't
melee.
forget about that.
And really, thanks to the parks crew, because they do a lot of work to keep those local fields in tip-top shape for all of the events, so. If anyone has any questions about the capital plan, feel free to ask, or you can also send an email to any of the relevant department heads or myself too.
Questions for Kate? Fourth of July. Awesome.
250.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Holy smokes.
What?
That was fantastic. The celebration.
Oh,
We don't often celebrate what we take for granted. And we should. We should just look up and say, dang, that was kind of cool. Even though we didn't take it for granted and didn't cheer and didn't clap. Nice. Well done. City clerk,
nothing.
city councilor,
Not there.
economic developer. Somehow I knew Jim would have something to say.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, thank you. My report is in your packet, and of course I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I'll point out a couple things. First of all, the Chapter 353, which you voted on a procedure tonight, one of the pieces of work that have to be done is to verify that that building is in fact blighted. We've hired an outside party to do an evaluation. We received their preliminary report. And as we all know, that is a blighted property that will qualify for the program. And as soon as we get the formal report, we'll share that once we receive it. But the preliminary work's been done. Related, in the same vein, we are working on a hotel feasibility study with the youth sports parks and the ones that are coming. There's been a concern in the community about the availability of rooms. So we've commissioned a feasibility study. A site visit was done, actually I think it was done about 3 weeks ago. We've received the preliminary feedback on that feasibility study. It appears that, yes, another hotel in Boonville would be feasible, economically feasible. And so we've seen that preliminary work, but have yet to receive the final report. Once that's done, I'll circulate that as well. So those are ongoing, and both those sound favorable. In the projects that you see there, it's been an interesting time, really, around uncertainty around public policy on two levels. So there's a national policy that we read about with tariffs and such that are affecting our local businesses, and that's not a negative. The uncertainty is the negative, not the policies themselves, in that if it was going to be one way, opportunities are created, or if it's going to be another way, opportunities are created. And it's the uncertainty that's causing some of our businesses to be lost at the moment. But there's also a second level, and that's the uncertainty that's being imposed by changes at the, mostly at the national department level. So the rule enforcers are also changing internal rules that are leading to some uncertainty. So just know that some of our businesses are wrestling with some pretty big issues right now and are staying on the sidelines for some of the things they want to get done just because they need some clarity about where to go. And it's not lobbying for one way or the other, it's just knowing what the rule is going to be. So a lot of that going on, just so you're aware. That shouldn't be any surprise. But other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Good work.
Thank you. Oh,
I did have one question. Since it is feasible on the hotel front, what's the next steps in that?
well, so I'm going, the site we have proposed is at 87 and I-70 on land owned by the Boonville Community Development Corporation. And what we've asked for, we had to give a idea of what we wanted the feasibility to be proposed on. And what I asked for was something similar to a Hampton Inn. So a family-based hotel, a little higher flagging than our other hotels. The warm breakfast, a bunch of double doubles to support a family, indoor pool, that kind of thing. So that's what the study was performed on at that location. So the next step in process is going to be dependent a little bit on how the BCDC wants to proceed, given that it's their land. I have several people that have already called waiting for the report to be issued. So, and I would certainly want to make this information available to our incumbent operators in town to allow them to participate if that's something they want to do. But I think I'll need to get some feedback from the BCDC since it's their property.
Now, this is not a public project.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanna know what the next steps are. It's great we're getting more businesses, just what
Yes.
can we do as a community to try to push it, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Yep, thank you, Jim. Anybody else?
Mayor,
Ma'am.
just wanted to thank members of the city council who made it down to the library open house down on Kemper. It was we think a big success. We had over 764 people come through
Nice.
that day.
Right.
Good.
And progress is coming. The goal is the end of the year, hopefully.
That battle started a couple of days ago.
A few couple of days ago.
Oh, gosh. I remember a few houses that we visited, trying to round up the first round, remember?
The what?
Where we went and had parties at houses
Oh,
to
yeah.
get the fundraising
Yeah,
started. And it was a hoot. It really was, because I got to meet all kinds of people I'd never even seen.
Yeah.
And,
I moved here in '93 and was at a women's meeting, and some friends of the library's members came and talked to us about trying to build a new library, and they had a little donation box. It was very sweet, and
yep, very, very similar.
yeah, so that's how long this has been
Yeah,
moving
great,
forward.
great project. Pat yourself on the back. Okay, anything else? Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, go Steve, we got a motion and a second. Stand up and vote. Thanks you all. Good work tonight.